Listen up, Rangers, welcome to the Geek Chest. My name's Steve, and today, as you can see, I got a project I'm starting on. Now, initially, I was thinking about doing something special, because the last little project that we did was the Godzilla vs. Hedorah stand for the X Plus landing Hedorah. But, as some of you guys know, when I do my photos, I have buildings in the background. Now, the buildings I've been using is pretty much what we made in the tutorials, plus a couple extras, and the Shin Godzilla diorama. But I've been actually wanting to have the diorama just with Shin. So I've been meaning to make something new that I could use to do my toy photography with. And also I've been kind of wanting something that I could just sit on my review table and be good to go. I don't have to set up buildings. I don't have to move buildings. Like if I want to add a couple of little pieces here and there, good to go. But outside of that, like I don't have to set up my background and everything. So what I'm going to do is just make a giant display. And as you guys can see, already done part of the work. There's still a lot to do, but most everything that I'm going to be doing as of right now, we've already done tutorials on. Like all these buildings, as you can see, are just little styrofoam blocks at the moment. I'm going to make these into buildings, which you can follow the card here or link in the description below will take you to the tutorial on how to make the buildings. Same with the battle damage buildings, exact same way. So for those sections, I'm not going to film anything or really talk about what I'm doing there. You guys will just kind of see the finished product. But I'm actually going to get up here, because what I'm going to be doing here is applying road, which is the exact same method that I use for making the buildings. Is just going online, finding a road templates or road texture. You just Google road texture, you'll find these, and then use a picture editing software. I use GIMP because it's free, and you want to make it into the size that you need, which in GIMP you can use pixels or inch. You can convert it to inches instead of using pixels, which makes it really easy. So these roads here are done to be 3 inches. So when you have like a MonsterArts Godzilla standing on top of it, looks pretty convincing. Like I figure between the buildings, I want about a 4-inch gap, which should be pretty standard size for a MonsterArts Godzilla to fit through it. So I gotta lay these down. I'm gonna be using hot glue. Also have some long strips of just normal craft foam. You can buy this stuff at like Hobby Lobby, Walmart, where have you. Like all this stuff you can pretty much get at most general stores. But this is going to become my sidewalks, which are going to be half of an inch thick on each side, so that'll round off my 4 inches. And that's what I'm going to be laying out here anyways. There's a few other things I plan on doing, like over in the corner where you can see it V's here and comes in. That's going to actually be like a little park. There also might be like a few other sections, like over here. I might do something. But for the most part, the only thing I did differently than I did with the Shin Godzilla diorama is it's actually on a wooden base underneath, so that when I painted it, it doesn't bend and raise up. And got something there, but whatever, we can fix it later. But I used cardboard for this section here, which the reason why I went with cardboard is because it's just really easy to make it look like an uneven surface, like it's been kind of torn up and unleveled. Because essentially where this giant section is where all my damaged buildings are going to be. Probably bits and pieces of the road, which I'll show you guys what I'm going to be doing with those. Actually, when I did these, speaking of, I screwed up and made these too small, but I might be using these in between the buildings, since it's a smaller road, but I'm not sure what I'm actually using with those yet. But anyways, that, or maybe like use it for the damaged ones, because I made extra pieces, so might as well. Again, this is going to be where like my destroyed buildings are, and primarily where the figures would stand for when I'm doing the photos. So you have the backdrops, and I can do like angle shots, so there's little streets. I kind of want to make street lights too, is what I'm hoping. I got to order some. I found some like tiny little cars for $5 I can order from China, so I'm going to try those to put on the road. I think would be pretty sweet. Same with the buildings. When I do updates for those, I plan on making little billboards. I also got some files from Atomic Vinyl Reviews. So if you guys are interested in doing some of the buildings from here, you can also find links through their videos and through his Facebook page in order to find some of these templates too. I don't have mine readily available. I might post them eventually, but he already has some pre-assembled. Plus, he definitely does a lot more of the buildings than I do. So if you guys want more intricate looking buildings, I would definitely recommend going to check out his videos. But for the most part, a couple of the templates I've gotten from him. So if you see similarities, that's why. I also kind of want to make little billboards in some sections, because throughout the city I might actually put like the toy logos. Like I kind of want to make a MonsterArts one, maybe like a NECA billboard and a few other stuff here and there, just to kind of like with the companies that we do reviews for, kind of have just stuff littered about here and there, like little Easter eggs. But yeah, I'm just gonna pretty much get into it, because most everything, again, we've already done. It's just kind of in a larger scale than what I've done previously. But I'm going to get the road set up, the sidewalks, the back buildings, and then I'll show you guys what I did there. And then once we start getting into some more intricate stuff is where I will keep the camera running. Like for instance, the little park area and how I'm going to do some of the rubble and stuff like that. But anyways, I'll be back once I get all these into actual buildings. Alright, didn't go grab my studio lighting right now. Just kind of wanted to show you guys where I am currently at with the city, which what we have is the streets put in, the little sidewalks, which all I did for these was use a ruler and a pen with some soft foam to make the indentations, plus add a little bit of black lining to it. As you notice, it's not the prettiest, but pretty much as a backdrop it should work perfectly fine, because essentially what this is going to look like, getting down a bit, is the figures will be like here. This is what you guys will see for the background anyways. Which I don't think is too bad, because you'll figure there's going to be broken buildings and rubble here and there throughout the destroyed city section right here. My wife's getting right upstairs, so if you hear some creaking, that'll be it. I also realized I probably should have separated those two sections, but whatever. Looks fine. It's in the background. There's some posters and stuff, so cool. Alright, so what I'm going to be doing next, because again I told you guys I'd come back when I'm doing something new that we haven't technically done, because like with the roads here, again, was just cardstock printed off, did a road diagram. The streets are just foam, stuff we've used previously, and all the buildings are just cardstock wrap and foam. Well, sorry, foam wrap with cardstock. I should say that right, with little foam toppers for the buildings. Just using these little foam sheets here, I just glue them on top and cut out the pieces that I need. So, next, I'm going to be adding the grass to the sections. I haven't added any streets or pavement, if you will, yet. So there's going to be grass here, grass in this back section, plus I'm going to add some like trees and foliage eventually. But I'll show you guys how I'm going to be doing the foliage. Going to be putting some there. And then my game plan is to put like little trees along the streets at certain parts. Possibly some street lights. And then we'll do billboards. So, how I'm going to be doing the grass is using some, I can show you guys in the light, some fine turf. Pick the stuff up at Hobby Lobby. You just sprinkle it on. But you're going to need a adhesive. So what I got laying around I'm going to try is some Super 77 spray adhesive. So I'm just going to take this, spray this around here, and throughout the section back here. Also grab my studio lighting next time so you guys can see a little better. So I'm going to spray this, and I have to be quick about this. So you guys will see the finished product when I come back, and especially if it works. Alright, I haven't grabbed the studio lighting yet, but we got this. We now have some grass. One thing I realized, I probably should have put the masking tape down before I sprayed the glue and put the grass on. But I was planning on the painting anyways, so I more did this just as kind of a test run, more so than trying to be perfect. And again, this is all background. If it's not perfect, I don't really care. But as you can see back here too, I did the grass. Looks pretty spiffy, if I do say. What I'm going to have to do is, next is going to be the foliage. which actually I think I'll grab it. Hold on a second. What I'm actually going to be doing is using some of the moss that I had left over from doing the Godzilla Earth diorama to kind of give it some, add a little foliage. So you guys can see back there, gives it a little bit more character. I got some extra little stuff to put in there too. This stuff, plump foliage. So I'm going to use that to kind of spread around sections there too. And then again, I'm going to be using this to make little trees to go along the sections here. At least maybe. Now I think about it, I kind of just like it the way it is, to be honest. Because again, it's going to be like this when you're seeing it for the most part. And I think that looks pretty spiffy by itself. The only thing is I realize I don't have enough for my destruction that I want to do, but that's kind of where this is going to come in too, being the turf for there. And then we're still going to use some of it there, but kind of thinking maybe I could live without the trees, maybe. But anyways, I'm going to tack this stuff down with glue, and then we'll be back to decide on that thing. Alright, so next on the agenda, as you can see, I've already started setting up stuff, but what we have are little trees in certain sections going along the roads here. I'm going to leave trees out of certain areas, probably there. Mainly just so that if I want to say do like robot spirits or something and have them in between the buildings and stuff, I have a couple of sections where I don't have to worry about posing them with trees. Then not every street's going to have foliage. So mainly I just wanted to be like where the parks are at, or just a lot of grass areas. I kind of wanted the trees to kind of expand from that, and then maybe like that would have been a highway or something like that, and have that over there, or the foliage, a couple of bigger trees. But I need to make a few more, so I'm going to show you guys how I set these little trees up. It's pretty simple to do. Also, that's little, I can't remember if I mentioned this in the other videos, but that's just the moss set up to be like bushes and possibly smaller trees. But from an angle, and my chair is super creaky, looks really nice personally. So what we're going to need is some floral wiring, this clump foliage, hot glue. They also make like contact cement you can use for this too, I do believe. But mainly, I use hot glue for everything. And a pair of scissors or wire cutters. Alright, so what we're going to do is take a bit of the wiring. Since I got the scissors here, I'm just going to cut it. Also, just let you guys know my doggy's down here, so hear noises. So snip the wire. You want to take the wire, 2 bits, put them together at the bottom. You can hold it with your fingers, or since I got them here, I also have pliers. I've been mainly using these little guys to help get glue, but you just start twisting the wire. Now I guess you could also just use thicker wire, but this is kind of what I have laying around. Also forgot to turn off my AC, so I'm super sad. So it's going to be loud for this section here, but warning in advance. I'll try to be quick about it. But, oh no, it popped out. Let's try that again. So, twist the wire. You kind of leave a little bit of a loop at the end, because now all I'm doing is just bending it into random shapes. Doesn't have to be perfect. Kind of want a little straighter. And put a little bend here for like a smaller branch towards the bottom. Then, bam! Got ourselves a tree. Now what you start doing, take a little bit of hot glue. Be forewarned,